I make my triumphant return to 101 things to do in Minecraft. There's so much left to do, so let's get into exploring, building, and crafting. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic day. I'm going to do that idea that I had from last time at the very end of the video and make a cove for the turtles as well as the future tropical fish, because I think that's where they're going to go. I already kind of started on it, and I wanted to show you the progress of what it is so far, because I wanted to think about it off camera before committing to it fully. So over here is where the entrance is going to be. So it's technically going to cut through the mountain over toward this way, inside of the, the sanctuary through this way. And then by going all the way through this corridor over here, it'll pop out to the other side where there's going to be basically this giant rock cove in this area right here. And that way the turtles can exist on a beach that'll be right over here. So I think this area as it is big enough. I am going to remove some of the sand all throughout here and make it a lot larger. Maybe I'll actually make the cove, like I'll get rid of this sand, this whole area right here, and then it'll exist that way. But it is going to be something I'm working on and off camera for. I think this is a solid base area right here. And I do want to have it a contained area so that way the fish don't escape, because that would not be good considering it's an aquarium full of the tropical fish that I do value and want to keep around. And it's cool that fish can naturally spawn in here as well, just with this little area right here. So on top of the tropical fish, I can have all these fish here too. So that's pretty cool. So, yeah, this is what it looks like so far. So what I'm going to do is basically replace this intersection right here with probably this wood or a different type of wood or something. And that way, the actual contained area that you see is going to be, it's going to be like a 3x3 hole that you can walk through to the other side of where it's going to be. So that's pretty cool. My name is Brian Saviano, BricksOBrian. So this episode is going to be basically me changing things and working around with it and kind of talking about a bunch of stuff that has happened in the past couple of days and whatnot, because, why not? So I'm thinking, like, for the walls around toward this way, it's all going to be like this. And then I kind of, I either want to go with a, like a roof that has the lights in it, or I want to go for something else entirely different. So let's say it all starts like, actually, no, that would not make sense, right? No, it's 1, 2, 3. Wait, this is too high. This is technically too high. All right, so this needs to go like right here, right? Yeah, all right, so then this goes here. Like, the fact that the dirt is right there, I don't like that, so I have to make alterations on this side here. I might end up making it a bit different. I don't quite know how I'm going to do this quite yet, but this is going to be something I'm going to edit. So why don't I do this instead? Right, that kind of makes sense, maybe? I don't know. Sure. And if I have this over here, because, like, yeah, the dirt, I don't want it to be connected to the grass. That looks really awful. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And it kind of has the shape of a cove, so that's fine, right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. All right, so then in here, it's probably going to be these color wood planks, because I do want it to be a little bit lighter. And then the color scheme for the cove can be a little bit different. So, yeah, this past weekend was very interesting in a multitude of fashions, some of which, I will not be elaborating on for the moment here. But one of the things that I did do was I ended up going apple picking for the first time this season, the only time this season, most likely, considering, apple picking, there's only so many apples you can pick in general, because apples are obviously great and everything, but, you don't need that many apples constantly, and especially when I'm not making pie out of all of the apples and whatnot, so there's only so much you can do. So the place where we normally go to, Honey Pot in I don't know where, Massachusetts, could not go there. The reason being because my friends Dan and Eleanor have a dog. They have a little puppy named Ernie, and he is a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, I think. I think that's the name of the breed, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. So they have the puppy, and they cannot bring the puppy to just any place, because not every apple orchard allows dogs, which is totally within the right of the apple orchard, considering dogs are basically a giant mess most of the time, and I don't know why that's wonking out right there. There's like a random shadow. Is there a mob on the other side? Yes, it's a giant panda. That's why. It's glitching through the floor to make it look like there's a shadow there as well. Isn't that adorable? All the resources that are in here, I'm not going to harvest up because I'm in creative mode, and I'm not going to, you know, cheat my way through that. So, you know what I'm going to do? Oh, okay, wait. So, do I want to have the glowstone be in the ceiling, or do I want it be on the floor, right? Let's say I put it in the ceiling, you know, just to, like, give it that illumination. I don't mind that. I think that works better than the floor. So, for right now, I'm going to plug all this up here. And I'm going to add the glowstone to the very bottom because I'm obviously not going to edit the floor anymore. That's pretty much done. So I'll get rid of all these and take it from there. So I ended up going apple picking, and it was not great only because the circumstances were not great for it. We couldn't go to the place we normally could. And, you know, apple picking is typically something you do when it's very, like, you know, a brisk autumn afternoon or morning sort of a deal. And this past Saturday, it was like 80 degrees outside. It was like at least like mid 70s, you know, high 70s. So it was not proper apple picking weather, which I don't want to say it took me totally out of it, but it kind of did, you know, because you're used to like doing specific activities with, you know, like taking a Christmas tree and trying to get Christmas to feel like Christmas without snow and without all these other, you know, very Christmas-themed things. It just doesn't feel right, you know? So, like, having warm weather and going apple picking, it just didn't really feel right. But there was nothing you could do about it, you know? My friends could only go that, like, one specific time, and it was what it was, you know? So I wasn't going to be super dissatisfied that it wasn't perfect. There's a lot of situations in life, you know, they're not always going to be perfect. You know, you just kind of have to take it for what it is and work with it, you know? And so it was really hot, and I'm obviously a big guy, so sweat galore, gotta love it, right? And it was a really small orchard overall. Not very happy about, like, usually in apple picking, there is, you know, the apples obviously are the main attraction, or they're supposed to be, but there's also supposed to be, like, apple cider donuts maybe, a lot of different things like that. And so because we had to go to one that involved the dog, because the dog had to come for some reason. I don't know why. Like, obviously, I love Ernie. He's a very great puppy. I love dogs. I'm a big dog fan. But, you know, dogs don't necessarily need to be a part of every single activity all of the time. You feel? Ja feel? You probably do. So, you know, sometimes you got to leave the puppy home. But in this case, very adamant on bringing the dog. So, you know, there wasn't a lot of the things that you typically associate with apple picking with this place in particular. And I forget the name of the orchard, but it was in a totally different location. There wasn't really any apple cider. There wasn't any apple cider donuts or anything like that. It was just a very small orchard of apples, and that's about it. There were blueberries, but those were out of season, so you couldn't necessarily do that. I am placing these randomly, by the way. I don't really have any rhyme or reason right now. I'm just going to illuminate it so there's no dark spots, if I can figure that out. Yeah, so I'll probably place it like every 5 or so, but it's a very weird-looking corridor here, but I guess it works for now. And so I'll clear this out. You know, I'll switch over to, well, let me get rid of this firstly, in case I want to add more things. But I do want to make the other side symmetrical if I can. So it's kind of like a mountain sort of a thing. Yeah, all right. So 2 above this section here. Hold on. I'm continuing the story. Just give me a second here. 1. Okay, 1, 2. So that's technically the top right there. Get rid of this. Okay, and then there's this right here. Okay. Clear all this out. This snow is still incredibly obnoxious, all things considered. We'll do this. 1, 2, 3. Nope. That's not correct. Okay. Try this again. 1, 2, 3. Cool. 1, 2. And then that. Then there's this over here. 1, 2. See, this is why I don't typically show this on camera, because it's very boring. So, unless you really love when I do the little details like that, and I literally just count like 1, 2, buckle my shoe on camera, then, you know, sorry I'm not showing you those incredibly enticing details all the time. But yeah, not really. anything too particularly interesting. Now, that isn't exactly as it is on the other side there. I know that. It's technically 5 wide on the base right there. Okay. So we'll go with the 5 wide. So that, and then that right here. And then, yeah, I'd say that works out plenty fine for right now, at least. So I'm going to work on the actual, like, cove section, which I haven't actually put a lot of thought into, not going to lie to you. I have not put a lot of thought into it because I just wanted to continue on camera and hopefully figure it out from that point on. So what I probably should have done was cleared out a lot of this snow and make it so it isn't, you know, everywhere, because that would make everything a lot easier. But yeah, whoops. All right, so I laid out the idea here. So it's going to be like a overhang sort of a deal, like kind of like an ice cap, but not really. And it's all going to go pretty high up, and then it's going to cover this area so that way it doesn't go back into being the ice blocks. And there's going to be glowstone kind of hidden all throughout here because the glowstone does indeed melt the ice. It takes a little while, but it does melt the ice, as you can see right here. So it's going to be strategically placed alongside all of the area here. Not going to be too bright, not going to be too whatever. And there's going to be a part where, you know, it closes off. So like right over here, I'm probably going to put fences to close off so no fish can get through. So if I have fences right here, I believe water can be logged in. Let's see. Yes. Okay, cool. So fish won't be able to escape, but there's still water. So that's good. You know, so nothing can, like, swim through there. It's technically all blocked and everything. That works out very well. And let me see. Is there any way for me to test if fish can, like, slide through here? I don't quite know. Let's see. If I have a fish over here, right? What if I try to, like, you know, do something like this? Can I stop the... Nope, the fish is going that way. All right, so there's really no way for me to test it, at least right now, in this setting right here. So I'm going to have to figure it out as time goes on. But I believe fish will not be able to escape if I put fencing all along the bottom right here. So pretend this mountain is gone. That's something I'm going to do off camera because that's going to take a very long time. But pretend it's gone. And then fencing can go all throughout here, right? So that way, yeah, water can still exist and it'll be good. So you know what I'm going to do? Because I don't feel like, you know, commentating this section right here quite yet. I'm going to remove this and see how it looks. So I did what I set out to do, and this whole section's kind of clear. Now, I think the thing is, if there is no ice connected over here, then there shouldn't be ice that spawns in. There shouldn't be, but, so there's no ice spawning in the middle right here, right? Because there's nothing for it to, like, latch onto. I think that's kind of how it works. So as long as I, like, disconnect the ice, like, I don't really know. So I'm going to experiment with that a little bit, but I'm going to... So I removed all the area right here, so that entire section is gone. So that way, this can all be, like, fenced in over toward, like, this way right here. So I'm thinking, like, kind of, like, basically continuing where I think that was an eyelash. I think, like, continuing over toward this way would kind of work out pretty well. So if I make, like, a section, right, it kind of goes like this if I just fill it in, and hopefully... Oh, because you can't connect it right there. That's why it's not really, like, registering properly. Okay, so if I just do this and go all the way around toward this way, that should be a pretty solid area for this to work with. And so what I was saying before with the apple picking was it ended up being a very, like, kind of stressful-ish sort of day. It was like an hour away from the house. And I was walking around, and they ended up getting this, like, harness for the puppy. So you know how, like, babies get carried in, like, a satchel or, like, on the torso or on the back or something like that? They basically got one of those for the dog, which, you know, it is what it is, right? I don't know if I would do that, but if you want to have a satchel for your puppy, then I guess that works out just fine, right? So they ended up getting one of those, and I was in the process of... you know, putting that on, that way I could take care of the puppy. And I guess this fish is no longer going to be with us, or, yep, it's going to have to just, yep, fine. So interesting, it gets waterlogged down toward that way, so I have to, like, that's really weird. Okay, so why is it because there's items there? I don't know. So you can see, like, the water surrounding the fence post right there. That shouldn't be happening. What if I do this? Does that helps? Okay, so I have to like right-click and put water there. That's kind of weird, but whatever. So I ended up putting the puppy on my chest and whatnot. And the thing is that, you know, when you're out in public and whatnot, you have to wear a mask a lot of these places, and I was wearing mine, and I had my glasses on, and I ended up taking them off because for me, having glasses on in the mask, it just doesn't work out because it gets all fogged up. No matter what type of mask I seem to wear, it just seems to keep happening. So I took my glasses off, and I put them, like, in my pocket, so, like, one of the arms on the glasses was, like, inside my pocket, so that way I could easily access them if I needed to. I didn't need to, but at any point, but just in case I needed to. And so I did that. I was walking around with the puppy. The puppy got fidgety. And I'm like, all right, get the puppy off, you know, put him on the ground and let him walk around. And I look, and my glasses were gone, which was obviously not good. And I was on, like, 4 hours of sleep. So I was, like, sleep deprived, but, like, not panicking at all. So I get pretty worked up on things a lot of the time, not gonna lie to you. But when it comes to things getting lost, I never get, like, worried. I don't know why. Like, I think it's because I've seen my grandmother, like, in many, many years that obviously, you know, I've seen her lose things. Always got very worked up over things being lost. And then they were always somewhere in the house. But she would freak out very easily when something was misplaced. So I think I always make an effort to not get worked up when things are lost, even if it is pretty bleak that things are lost or I'll have to replace them. Like, don't go for the worst case scenario immediately. Just try to, you know, maintain composure, which, you know, in a lot of other aspects in life, I freak out pretty easily. But with that, I'm like, you know, hey, whatever. And then, you know, if glasses get lost and insurance, it gets covered, and it obviously costs money to get new glasses, but it's not necessarily the end of the world. So I was like, okay, if they're gone, then they're gone, and that's kind of it, you know? And I was walking around the orchard, and, you know, I don't know where I lost these glasses, and retracing my steps is next to impossible because all these apple trees look nearly identical. So, like, I don't know where I'm going, you know? And not only am I on like 4 hours of sleep, lost my glasses, but I'm also tired. It's hot outside. There's people everywhere. I'm wearing a mask, and I obviously understand wearing a mask and all that, but it was just so like exhausting in that moment and in there. But I still wasn't freaking out. And I'm like, you know what? There's no chance I'm finding these glasses. And because I was so out of it, like looking for my glasses on the ground was impossible because there's all these apple trees everywhere. The shadow is hitting the apples at a very, you know, particular light. There is no way. It is literally impossible for me to find them. It's just not going to happen. And so I ended up like walking back to the car because I'm like, I'm just sick of this. I don't want to deal with this right now. You know, pretty aggravated, admittedly, which, you know, doesn't happen very often. But when it does, you know, that's a justifiable reason to be aggravated. So as I was looking for my glasses, like I had told my friends, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be back. Because I didn't want to alert them, you know. I didn't want to overreact or, you know, oh, so the fish do get caught. Okay, interesting. So I don't want to, you know, freak them out or anything like that. So I just said I'm going to the bathroom and I'll be back. So I ended up like walking back to the car like twice. And I was like looking around. I'm like, I don't know where these are. I don't know where these are. And so I ended up, you know, meeting back up with my friends. And I saw them. And it was really weird. Because as soon as I saw like I was walking through all the apple trees. And I saw my friends. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And I walked through. And the second I took 2 steps forward with my left foot, I end up kicking my glasses. And they were right there on the ground as if I had never misplaced them. They were just there. And I was so amazed that I had found my glasses that I literally, like, it's like literally like they got spawned in. Right? Like, for video game terms, you know, like someone was like, oh, we'll just pop this, you know, these glasses right here for Brian, you know? So I was so thrown off. And I was like looking at the sky, and I was looking at the ground, or looking at my glasses and looking at my friends, and they were like, dude, what's wrong with you? Because they didn't know I lost my glasses. So they were all like freaked out. They're like, what? Like, are you good? Are you okay? Are things not okay? Why are these fish shaking? Are you good? Are you good? I guess you're good. And they were just looking at me, and I'm like, I totally, absolutely speechless. And like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I don't, so I don't necessarily believe that it was like, oh, you know, I was guided to that one specific spot to find those specific glasses right there in that spot, right? But like, man, it was freaky that I had looked everywhere, and then I had just found them right there, chilling on the ground. Like, these apple trees, it wasn't a massive orchard like I'm used to, but there was not a chance I was finding all those, you know, the glasses anywhere. But then I found them. So it was so weird that had happened. And I guess maintains that, you know, you just can't, like, freak out over certain things like that and do all those, you know, behave that kind of way, because it just doesn't end up, you know, maintaining composure is better than freaking out, obviously. So just try to do that as much as you can, which I need to take a taste of my own medicine all the time. I overthink things like crazy. I have, like, all sorts of, like, what if this one possibility happens, or this thing, or that thing, or blah, 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 you know, all these different things that may or may not happen. And it's like, all right, Brian, you got to, like, focus in the now and whatnot, and like, what's the most realistic thing that could possibly happen from this thing right here, you know? So like with the glasses, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna freak out because they're a pair of glasses. I can repair them, or rather replace them, and it can be fine, you know? I don't have to necessarily worry or anything like that. Just take it as it is and meow it out, as the kids would say. So that's what I did, and it ended up working out for me. So if you ever lose your glasses, just be like, nope, not gonna worry about this right now. Just gonna, you know, focus on having a good time or whatever, you know? Because a lot of the time it's just not worth the worrying you would most likely do for a situation like that. So there's your life pro tip from your boy, Brian Saviano, BricksOBrian, for today, you know? So that's why I'm playing Minecraft right now, you know? Like, a lot of the time, fish is gonna absolutely get stuck. He's gonna be skewered like a piece of sushi. Get him out of here. See ya. That's why I like playing video games. It's a great little, not little, but a great distraction. If you have something going on, you're like, you know what? I'm going to occupy my mind with a little bit of Minecraft building and whatnot, because, you know, it forces you to think outside the box, be a bit more creative, and get a different part of your brain going, you know? And I can clearly see, like, right now, all this ice is spawning in because these blocks are right near here. So what's going to have to happen is there's going to have to be some way in which I have glowstone around here to prevent the ice from getting too caught up with this here. So let me get all this in here. I'm going to have to add more water as well. So let's grab all this, right? Now that water is technically, yep, I got to waterlog all of it right there. Boom. Or not waterlog it, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to need more glowstone. The glowstone might be good, actually, for having... So, like, if I have it right here, right? That's going to illuminate that. Like, I don't know how many pieces of glowstone I actually need, but I'm going to place some kind of, you know, here and there around here just to, like, add to it. And the glowstone doesn't connect to that? Really? Interesting. Okay. So the glowstone kind of floats there, unfortunately. And that's what I do need to do. I need to eliminate these ones on the other side here. So 1, 2, 3. Get them out of here. Get all these. So lots of boring stuff like that for this episode of Minecraft here, unfortunately. You know, not a whole lot of super interesting exploring. But just like with life as well, ladies and gentlemen, life isn't always super interesting with 1,000, you know, million amazing things happening. Some days are just boring. And, you know, that's fine too. So, building fences in the water is the most entertaining thing I'll probably do all day today. And you know what? That's fine. What I also did this weekend was I made a stupid decision. I made a very dumb decision. But you know what? It was my decision to make, and I did it. So, I had been thinking about for a very long time this particular thing that I wanted to buy. And I was like, oh, should I get it? Should I not get it? Like, I got to be responsible and whatnot, but I also have been thinking about it for months and months and months and had it in like my shopping cart and all that. They have this thing called these arcade machines that you can buy from Arcade 1-Up, and I ended up buying one of those to have in my office, and I ended up buying the Pac-Man 40th Anniversary Edition of that thing. So I bought it, and I have to say, it's awesome. It is so incredibly cool, and now I have an arcade machine in my office. I don't have it near me right now. I'm looking at it right now, but I don't have it like behind me or anything like that. Eventually, it'll go back there, but not for right now. It'll just kind of lurk around there. What do I want to do right now? Because I have all this section here. Like, this is the idea, right? So all the fish are kind of floating out through here. I don't know why these fish keep getting stuck. Like, I don't know what it is, but okay. Hopefully that's something they improve eventually, is like the AI for fish, because they're like stuck right here. I don't know why. They're just floating and like not doing it. They're not stuck on anything either. Okay, I guess they are now. They're good. Okay. But like they want to escape. I don't know. So whatever. These fish are fine though. So for now, what I might do is like, I kind of want to work on this because this is going to be another boring part, right? I'm going to like clear this out of the snow and focus on making this shape be a bit, you know, good and seeing what happens from there. But this relative idea is what I got, and I don't mind it right now. So there's a little bit of that. And yeah, let me work on this and see what happens. Okay, that's clearly not going to work there. I'll see what happens. I want to thank you guys and girls for listening, watching, tuning in, and meowing it out with me as always. My name has been Brian Saviano, BricksOBrian. The next time you see this, it'll probably be a bit more, you know, Cove-like. I'm thinking it'll go somewhere up toward here. So it's going to, like, creep over. So that way, if you have something covering water right here, it will not cause it to turn into ice. So anything below this section will not be ice anymore. So I'm hoping like over toward here, like it'll be that tall. Nowhere near as tall as this, but it'll kind of be like jutting out like that. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking like that. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll continue it out toward this way a little bit more, make it a bit more natural, hopefully. But yeah, I'll work on it as I just do stuff, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. So as you can see, I made a ton of progress over here. Very proud of what I got going on. Nah, I'm just kidding. I did nothing. Also, just kidding, totally did. So over toward here, it shows exactly what I did so far. So this section right here took me about 30 minutes. So yep, takes a long time. So what I did was, actually, I'll just show you what I did. But this is what it's going to look like, basically all on this side over here. And if you look at it from the top section over here, it kind of has a point to it. This is not final. Like, I kind of want to make this go a little bit more over here. And I want to make it look natural as much as I possibly can. So having all sorts of rock over here and making it look, you know, like as if it were a part of the world in some way, that is ideally what I want to do. So going over here, I'll show you exactly the method to the madness, as it were, and I'm going to continue on the other side here, so you still have an idea of how I did this, but I'm not going to show every little bit of it. So I'm going to place a glowstone right here, and then, yep, cool. So, if you have this sort of section right here, right, and you want to have it wrap all the way around, then you can do what I'm doing right here. So basically, I start right here, and it's kind of like a... not quite a specific way that I'm placing blocks, but I'm just basically following along the section right here, both on one level and above, and just kind of like filling in things and making it a bit erratic in a way, but I'm staying close to where the stone was before and moving ever so slightly up and down at the same time. So I'm kind of going at this angle where I'm doing like 3 different levels at once, but it ends up looking a bit more natural this way, and then afterward plugging up any holes that I might have, and then, you know, making this look a bit more cohesive this way and all the way up. So that's how I'm kind of achieving this look. So if I go like over toward here, so you can see these 2 sections right here connect, and then I go over toward here, and then it looks like it connects like a little bit more, and then I can change things as I go and make it look a bit more natural. So I'm doing it all across this side right here. So like for this section, let's say I start from the bottom. I can go like this and try to, like, you know, make it work. Even if I stick with just the one level right here, I don't try to do 2 levels at one time, but I'm not necessarily following exactly where the line is on the very bottom right here. I'm kind of just going with whatever I feel like going with, either in a little bit more, out a little bit more, depending on what I'm feeling. And that way it gives it a much more natural look. And then afterward, I can connect on that lower level in whatever way I want to. So I'm at the edge of the area right here, and then bam. So like right here, I could go like this and then connect this like right here, and then this one, you know, do this or that, and, you know, kind of continue it over toward this way if I wanted to. But that's like if I'm making every single alteration I need to when I need to. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get a basis for what's going on over here. So, yeah, I'm just basically doing this, and I'm doing it a bunch of times. And by the time I do end up finishing this whole section, it'll be nice and covered up and look really good. And what I'm basically doing is making this cove and not factoring in how it's going to look on the inside quite yet, because I want to make the structure itself and make it look good. Now, my idea that I actually had while I was building this, I'll show you in a half second here, as I finish up this section right here. So you can see, like, yeah, now I can do like this side right here, and it makes it a bit more rugged and whatnot. But the idea that I had was to go, firstly, over toward here. And so you would enter in right through here. So I'm not going to factor in the cove entrance right here, but that's where you would enter. And then using birch planks or whatever, there would basically be this walkway that goes all the way around this edge and over toward this side and over toward that side. So that way you could look out into all the fish that are over here and whatever else. There'd be like a little dock area so you could like walk down and jump in to feed the fish if you wanted to. Ideally, there would be some section where I could view the fish from down below here or maybe over here. I don't know. But I think that would be a pretty cool area, as it were. And that's kind of my idea that I have floating around as of right now. Either the dock would start like maybe right here on this level instead. I don't really know. Maybe, yeah, probably like right there. But again, I'm not going to factor that in until I finish the entire structure, just so I have it done. And this section over here, because this is all basically untouched, I didn't do anything, you know, with anything in mind. I think this would be a good area for the polar bears because there's a lot of tundra right here. There's some water. There's ice. You know, it all looks pretty natural as it is. You can see I took some of the stone over here. And, like, you know, instead of having it be just stone all the way across, I'm kind of making it so it looks like it's a part of, you know, this whole area right here. So it looks, yeah, it looks like naturally generated in here with some, obviously some dirt, you know, jutting into it, but it's not too, you know, unnatural with the way it looks. So that's kind of what I'm going for, and I'll adjust all that off camera and make it look a bit more coherent and cohesive that way. But for right now, I think it looks pretty good over here. Glowstone over here to give it some light, and obviously make it so monsters do not spawn. I'll have to add some more glowstone like in here, hide it somehow, some way, but that's down the line eventually. So let me finish up this section here of the cove and make it look absolutely stunning, and I'll let you know exactly how it looks and any alterations I gotta make from there. So I took some time in between where I was last time with the cove to not only shave the bottom part of my goatee, so now I have a mustache for the time being. I figure why not spice it up. I also finished off the cove. So this entrance looks very uninspired, I would say. I'm not 100% loving it, but it does the job for now. What I would love to do is somehow add something in the middle here, so that way there's a lower section of the cove to go to. But for right now, it's fine. That's going to be a whole other project in itself. But now when you go over toward this way, you can see here's this giant mound of, you know, whatever. There's, you know, glowstone around here to light it up instead of having torches, make it look a bit more natural. And when you go inside of here, ooh, you see how it looks, and it looks very nice. Ooh. So now, not only are there glowstone bits hidden all the way over through here, so that way nothing spawns in, but also, ooh, inside of here, there's all sorts of glowstone to make it look nice and pretty, so that way you can actually see the fish when they are appearing in the cove. So there's this dock that kind of goes all the way around here, and I'm trying to figure out like how to not get monsters to spawn in here, because obviously I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to find out how much glowstone I actually need to make all that possible, which I clearly need more. So like one has to go probably like right here. And then using this, I have to like hide the glowstone on this side. So let's say I go over here, then bam, you know, something kind of like this, I guess, you know, trying to figure this out as I go and improve it. But yeah, there's that. So over toward here, you can see the entirety of not only the outside area, but also, you know, over here, you can see where all the fish will exist over toward this way. Then over on this section is where the polar bears are going to live. So they're going to be all up onto this section right here, which I'm now realizing that I need to have some sort of, like, barrier here because, you know, if the polar bears end up, like, walking around and they can, like, walk into, like, the fish area, and that's a whole big ordeal. So if I do something like this and kind of block them, I guess, yeah, that's probably going to have to be what happens. And eventually, I'm going to have to make it so there's, because the polar bears could just leave as of right there. So I guess I'm going to, like, you know, enclose this entire area somehow. I'll improvise and connect it and make it work somehow. But they're going to exist over here, so they could go not only over here and hide inside, but also dip themselves into the water that is over here. There's ice everywhere, so they can feel a bit more at home that way as well. And the fish can all be over here. And so, like, there's spiders that spawn in here. I don't really know why, honestly. I don't understand, but they're there. I put glowstone in here to kind of prevent the underwater, or the drowned, rather, from spawning in. So they're kind of evenly placed. Like, some areas, obviously, I need to put a few more bits of glowstone. But it's not going to be entirely evenly lit up just based on, you know, what it is. And the light does not travel very far underwater, but you can kind of see, like, here's a section here, you know, light up that. So it's relatively evenly lit. It could use some improvement, but I think for the time being, it's fine. So in the next episode, I'm going to put all the fish inside of here, and then put the polar bears over here. Yeah, that makes sense, but I'm going to go into actual survival mode to do that because I need to get all the fish from the buckets and do all that. So I want to thank you guys and girls for listening, watching, tuning in, and meowing it out with me as always. My name has been Brian Saviano. There's it right here. This is what it looks like, and this is what it looks like from the above view. So it's a nice, like, cove-ish area. If it were covered in snow, it would look a lot better. It would look a lot more natural, but it looks very man-made for now, so whoops. I hope you have the most amazing day you possibly can given the circumstances of the world, and we're going to get some fish inside of here, and it's going to look real nice. I'll see you again next time for more 101 Things to Do in Minecraft. Bye.